All right, so good morning, everyone. Jose Garcia, real estate investor, coach, and mentor. Every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. every Saturday morning, live on Instagram, we do what's a mobile home weekly check-in call. The check-in call is typically where we do any updates, any follow-ups, any issues we might be dealing with. Always the key goal is to add value and educate any and everybody that's interested in this niche, right? So, but that being said, is apparently, sometimes I forget there's areas where there's still no signal, no reception. So I could not go live. So I'm making this video as a topic what we're going to discuss this morning. Plenty coaching events are coming, educational. A lot of people are still emailing messages, or are you coaching directly? I am not doing any direct one-on-one at this time, but we are coming up with a new group coaching that is going to be up pretty soon. So stay tuned for that one there. But so I actually drove to my very first mobile home, and that's what I want to cover on, and that's what I want to talk about. I'm going to show you what the mobile home looks like now. Not very different from what it did back then, which was 7 years ago. But it's like that's the beginning of, and it's like when I think of that, it's like we've done so much, but so much more we could be doing, and so much more we can be doing. So it's always growing, it's always bettering yourself. That's the goal, is that I want to do better today than I did yesterday, and better tomorrow than I did today. But it's also is like, how can I teach people? I'm often asked, if you had to do it all over again, if you had to go back 7 years ago, what would you do different? Get a coach or a mentor. Get a coach or a mentor, because there's a lot of things that I did. There's a lot of time I wasted. There's a lot of expenses, a lot of things I did wrong that I could have avoided if I had somebody to guide me. I don't need somebody to do it for me, but I do look up to people who have been there and done that, because they can teach you, they can show you, obviously with experience. And it's not what a teacher is. They can teach you based on what they went through. Because a coach and a mentor, they've been through the hardships and all the stuff you're trying to acquire or become. They've been there, they've been that. If it's the legit coach or mentor also, by the way. So just make sure on that too. But so next Saturday, March 11th, we have a virtual coaching call, and that's going to be multiple streams of income, creating passive income through mobile home investing. And when I talk about that, it's always like, never limit yourself to one exit strategy, or a couple for that matter. Learn the power of and. Okay, rentals and rent-to-owns and wholesale and flips. Keep adding, because that's how you're going to create real wealth, and that's how you're going to generate real passive income. If you only have one stream of income, aka maybe a job, there's a 50-50 risk of ever losing it. And this goes out to even maybe wholesalers. Wholesalers are phenomenal, but the wholesaler game is always, I get one and done. What happens if there's not another deal for a couple weeks or a month? Are you okay to make it through? So you have to have something more consistency, and that's what I want to teach people on. On average, I keep 100 mobile homes. We flip them, sell them, and I'm going to go through those here in a few minutes, the steps of what I've done. But I keep 100 as a cushion. That's my passive income. If for an entire month I chose not to flip, rehab, whatever, I know that there's 100 mobile homes at the beginning of next month that are going to be paying me either rent, a lease option, or rent to own. That's my passive income. That's 100 of them. My goal for this year, 2023, is to have 500 of them. We're pushing hard. We are rehabbing back to back. These crews are nonstop going. So it's a big goal, but hey, if goals don't scare you, maybe they're not big enough goals. So, I'll say if I come shy of 500, which I'm going to aim 500, but if I come shy of 500, 450, 475, I'm all right. You got to think about that. So, but anyway, my beginning stages 7 years ago was nothing more than I wanted to become a landlord. I don't know why. Looking back, and nothing against landlords. We do have quite a few rentals. Again, we kind of venture off of that, went on to lease options, rent to owns, other strategies. But, rentals, there's a high need and demand, certain area and markets. So we do all the above. Again, right? So that being said, but when I look back, it's like, I fought myself. And that's another thing, is I think too many times people get in front of their own way. Nothing can stop you but you. Remember that, okay? Only you can stop yourself. Only you can pull yourself away from what you can become. If I sat back then 7 years ago and listened to what everybody had to say, I would not be doing what I'm doing today. All I heard is, that's not going to work. But what if this? No, I don't think that's good. Oh, that's not really safe. All the naysaying things that I avoided or refused to listen to, because I knew I had a vision, and I didn't have as clear as a vision as it was. But, part of being an entrepreneur too is that Many times as you figure it out as you go along. You look up and again, you get guidance. But look, I want to go ahead and flip the camera. That is my very first mobile home, number 1. Doesn't look much different than it did back then 7 years ago. It's kind of neat when when I'm in the area and I swing by, it's like, this is where it began. That was my first mobile home that I said, which I spun wheel so much, trying to get houses. My original goal was to become a real estate flipper, but it didn't seem to pan out. Obviously, money was one reason. 2, I didn't know what I was doing. 7 years ago, I knew nothing more than, hey, I want to buy this mobile home to rehab it and rent it. So that's what I did. I connected with the community manager at the time. And basically, I would love to go back and hear my pitch, what it was. I'm sure it was terrible, but, he accepted. He said, sure, come by. We have a few that, need rehab. Come out and show me what you can do. I was there. Next morning, I was there bright and early and ready. And that was my goal. And when I talk about what ifs and doubts, when you start doing even more naysaying comes out. So, you got to take that with a grain of salt and realize, I have a vision. I cannot succeed unless I push myself. So we did. I ended up finding out real quick that, rehabbers, contractors, handymans, some of the hardest workers in America do not like to work. So what happens is after 2 weeks and firing over 7 crews, a few never even showed up. I'm not sure I hired them or even fired them. They just disappeared. Go figure, right? I think it's a few who've been rehabbing and investing in either real estate or mobile homes can relate. But anyway, I knew enough handymen growing up, obviously doing labor with my father, etc., that I said, I'm going to rehab it myself. It's just flooring, it's carpet, it's not that hard. So there were, I remember, a few electrical issues, which I don't know electrical. I'm not going to try to figure something out, especially something like that. So what I did with those is I hired contractors only to come in and check things that I wasn't sure. To my advantage, it turned out the most things were okay. They were good to go, just simple little touch-ups. So that was great. I put that mobile home after a couple weeks of rehabbing it on the market. And when I say the market, it was Craigslist. That's the only place I knew is put it on Craigslist. And I think about 2-3 weeks went by, nobody responded. I thought immediately, wow, this is where the naysaying comes. I was like, maybe they were right. Now you start doubting yourself, which is terrible. Maybe everything that everybody said was right. Maybe I'm going to fail and everybody's going to tell you, I told you so. I couldn't let that happen. So I kept pushing. I kept posting. I came back out and put a sign on it for rent. Okay. Notice all these things were new to me. I just kind of guesstimating, just figuring it out. I put for rent. Sure enough, next day, a younger couple who were looking to build their credit and build a house were looking for a mobile home in the area to kind of live for the meantime. And they saw that one and liked it. Almost like, really? Like, you really want that same doubt? So I met them. They walked it through and they said, yes, for what we need at this time, that this actually works out really good. We like it. Signed a lease agreement, which the lease agreement came from, at the time, I think I pulled it off of the internet. You could pay to get these. I don't suggest that doing now. Definitely when it comes to contracts, agreements, visit an attorney that deals with real estate. It is an expense, but it's something that you can keep on using over and over. Bottom line, we got that done. There's something that happens when somebody hands you money. When they handed me money and I gave them their keys, it was like this light bulb and this success feeling of, it does work. This does work. So I wasted maybe 2-3 days and I was back here again. I wanted my second one and I wanted my third one. And of course, at this point, the community park manager said, okay, so yeah, you do legit work. So yeah, that's fine. We can sell you another one. And they sell me another one and another one. First year, I ended up doing 10 mobile homes in this park. Along all rentals, and I rehabbed 90% of them. I had a little help here and there, but again, it was one of those where minimal. Contractors didn't want to show up, do the work. I didn't let that stop me. I got out there and do it. That one led to another one, 10 mobile homes at the end of that first year, which I thought that was a decent success. Some people think it's great. Again, if I had a coach and mentor, I probably could have had triple, because the second year around, I had 10 mobile homes in less than 3 months. So you see how you start learning and you start progressing, and that's what I want to teach people, how to look for these things and how to do these things. After rentals, I realized, let me start flipping some now, because the landlord was kicking in. Things break, things happen. That's just life, and that's mobile homes. And guess who was fixing and repairing everything? me. So I had to stop what I was doing to come out of here. And no, when I'm doing all this, by the way, 7 years ago, I was married still. I'm married today. I was married then. I had a corporate job. I had a son, and it's like so many things. Like, I can allow so many of these things to say I don't have the time. Too many times people say I don't have the time for that. There's not enough time in a day. You can make the time or not. That's up to you. That's a choice. I don't have time to dictate my future. I've heard it best being said, to live like no one else, you have to live like no one else. Meaning, if you do the sacrifices today, you put the time, the work, the effort, tomorrow when the reward comes, you'll get to live like no one else. But you got to be able to do these things. You talk yourself out of it. I don't want to. I don't think so. If you never really engage, you're never really going to know. I don't want to look back 40, 50 years and say, what would have been if I would have tried that? I did try it and I failed, but at least I tried it. Okay? But if you fail again, you never really lose unless you quit completely. You keep going. After rentals, I moved on to flips. I started rehabbing them, and then I just wanted to flip them. So we flipped a few. And then after that, I went on to rent the owns. I figured, well, I can still finance them, because what was happening is a lot of people were coming to me saying, I don't have $20,000, $22,000 cash. If I put a down payment, will you finance for me? It's owner financing. I remember they would say. I said, I looked into it, figured it out. Done. Rent the owns started happening. Now I was selling these for more with the low down payment and monthly every month. Again, passive income was happening. Most of these down payments were paying everything that I had into the mobile home anyway. So after that, I went on to lease options. Then I started creating notes. You see, I'm progressively just doing this a little bit more. Always learning, always learning. After notes, we got into wholesale. Now, a lot of people start in this industry or even real estate by wholesaling first. I didn't like form agreements, documents. I hated it. It was one of those that I had to sit and learn and just teach myself. Wholesaling just seemed like something impossible, which I don't know why, because it is the simplest thing to do. I mean, you simply put a mobile home under agreement in assumption to buy it, and then you find a buyer and you assign it to. We're going to go through this on March 11th as well, step by step of how to do this. When you think about passive income, think of every stream of income that you can generate from mobile home investing. All these that I'm listing, you too can do. After wholesale, we move over into transport. Now I want to move them. Don't forget, mobile homes are meant to be mobile. So the beautiful aspect is, if I don't like it where it's point A, let me move it down the street to point B or point C, etc. So I did so. I started looking for mobile homes that needed to be moved or I could move, and I moved them on to different properties. I started connecting with a lot of community park owners at that time, operators, managers, and a lot of them would say, hey, we have some pads we need infill. We don't mind buying if you have inventory or if you want to bring some of yours. Bingo. There you go. Okay. The harder I work, the luckier I get. I've heard that from a very successful individual, and that's true, because you put yourself in the right areas, in the right position, things will come to you. So transportation happened, a lot more connections. Okay. Then we moved on to additional more. Section 8. Yes, Section 8 inside of communities, inside mobile homes. The beautiful thing about Section 8's, though, pros and cons, government always pays. I've never chased the government. They pay me every month on time, early, really, 25th of the month. So we embarked in that. Okay. Then we did veteran assistance, which is a housing more for veterans that, the areas that we find necessary of is, there's many areas that have big medical facilities for veterans. They can come in, do their checkups, whatever they need, but there's no housing around. We quickly figured out that there was people that were traveling 4 or 5 hours just to do a doctor checkup because that's where they needed to go. So we thought, well, let's put housing that maybe can be approved by veteran assistance housing, maybe, and let's see what we can do. Sure enough, bingo, it happened. So we're doing veteran assistance housing now. Okay. Then we went on to Airbnb. I know y'all know what Airbnb is. Airbnb is a little more strict. There are some communities, some areas where Airbnb will deny. So that's fine. But we also know, based on the grade of the community and on the market, where we're typically going to get approved. So we embarked into the Airbnb, which till this day, it is my favorite, though there's a second one coming in now that it's going to be questioned, because I may like that one a little bit more. But Airbnb checks out. We do this with mobile homes all the time. They stay occupied, and the ROIs are so much better than rent-to-owns rentals. They're higher. The clientele is better also, we've noticed. So again, pros and cons to that. And then we went on to wholesale mobile home parks. Last year we wholesaled 2 mobile home parks, one which we would have kept, I should have kept, but it was just more I was focused on coaching, mentoring, etc. Just wrong timing, I suppose. But it can be done. You can wholesale an entire park. Absolutely. Just like you would real estate or a mobile home. I'll put it on their contract. Okay, maybe some earnest money, you got to see on that, but then you can wholesale it. You can assign it to somebody else. So that is possible. Elderly housing just started. We are also wanting to provide housing for elderly people, also that need medical assistance, etc., because that there is a high demand in that. Extended stay rentals, that is my next one that I'm working on now. We are structuring. It is going to be something very similar to Airbnbs, where we're going to furnish the entire mobile home. I mean, completely. You come in, everything is there: beds, dressers, TVs, couches, washer, dryer, stove, for everything. It's basically an extended stay. I joked about it saying extended stay by Jay. You know, we're going to play with that, but that is a concept that I'm hoping as early as next week we're going to put it to play. So again, take an action, learn, take action, and implement. That's what you got to do. Come next Saturday, March 11th, okay, at 8:30 in the morning, we're going to go live. 8:30 or 9 in the morning, I apologize. I'll look on the timing. It is set on the schedule, but we're going to go live, and that's going to be on creating passive income. Some of you are thinking about it. Some of you might have already done a deal or two. You know, this is going to be very, very beneficial to a lot of you. You know, if you're thinking about, because today is the best time to start investing in mobile homes for 2 reasons. One, there's a high need and demand. There's never been more need of affordability housing than there is today. And let's face it, mobile homes are the last of affordability housing. We have income tax time. People have money. So what happens is this time of year is when we see a lot more people pay with cash or pay large down payments, etc. So people have the money, have the resources, is what I'm saying. Getting started today and saying I want to do a quick rehab and a flip is very doable. It's very possible, okay? But always thinking about, you know, the markets and how I can help. What are the best ways for me to maximize my return on my investments? I'm going to teach you all these steps too. You heard it. I named them all here. All these strategies we are currently doing today, and that's what we're embarking on. So I hope that I hope to see all of y'all next Saturday morning at 9 a.m. March 11th, and there it is, my very first mobile home. All right, well, thank you for watching.